The distress signal. The signal came on a Tuesday. Dr. Maya Harrison was monitoring routine deep space transmissions at the International Space Listening Initiative facility in Chile when her equipment registered something unusual. At first, she thought it was a glitch, the kind of cosmic background noise that occasionally tripped their sensors. But this pattern persisted, growing stronger by the hour. "Director Okafor," she called, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "I think you need to see this." Director Nia Okafor, who had overseen ISLI for nearly a decade, leaned over Maya's workstation, her brow furrowing as she studied the waveform displays. "How long has it been coming in?" "Almost 14 hours. It started as barely detectable, but it's strengthening." "And?" Maya hesitated. "It's structured. These aren't random bursts. There's a clear mathematical sequence." Okafor's expression remained neutral, but her eyes widened slightly. "You're saying it's artificial. I'm saying it's impossible for this to occur naturally. The sequence follows prime numbers, then shifts to what appears to be a form of binary encoding. We're still working on deciphering it, but—" Maya's voice dropped to just above a whisper. "This is a message, Director, and it's not from Earth." Within hours, ISLI had become the center of a global storm. Government officials, military personnel, and scientists from a dozen countries arrived as news of the signal spread through classified channels. The public remained unaware as experts worked feverishly to decode the increasingly complex transmission. 3 days later, Dr. Katsuo Tanaka made the breakthrough. "It's a distress call," he announced to the crowded Situation Room, his voice trembling with excitement. "And we've deciphered enough to understand what they're saying." The projector hummed to life, displaying a series of translated message fragments. URGENT, ASISTANS REQEY. AFLEET TRAPID in GRAVIT, AP. Ornado, AN OLMM AOLOT. OIFE support EFA ILING. Minus 18,000 souls on BO arid. CORDIAAKS FOLOO. Lieutenant General Helena Varga, the UN's newly appointed coordinator for potential extraterrestrial contact, leaned forward. "Where are they?" Dr. Tanaka pulled up a star chart, just beyond Jupiter's orbit. "They appear to be caught in some kind of space-time distortion we've never detected before. Based on their communications, they've been trapped for the equivalent of nearly 3 Earth months. And they're reaching out to us," asked someone from the back of the room. "Why? We're hardly the most technologically advanced species in our own estimation." Dr. Harrison cleared her throat. "That's actually the most fascinating part. According to what we've translated, they observed our space programs and communications for some time. They're specifically reaching out to us because of our inefficiency." "Excuse me." General Varga's eyebrow arched. "Their words, not mine," Maya clarified. "Their technology is entirely based on quantum computing and gravitational manipulation. It's far more advanced than ours, but it's also why they're trapped. The anomaly is disrupting their systems. They've noticed that humans still use a wide range of technologies simultaneously: digital, analog, mechanical, even chemical propulsion alongside our newer ion drives. Our technological diversity is actually our strength," Dr. Tanaka added. "We don't abandon old systems entirely when we develop new ones." General Varga stood, her decision already made. "Then we mount a rescue mission. I'll coordinate with the Security Council immediately. We'll need the best minds and the best equipment, both cutting edge and, apparently, obsolete." The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of activity. The world's space agencies came together in an unprecedented collaboration, retrofitting the International Moon Base's largest vessel, the Daedalus, with an eclectic collection of technologies spanning the last century of human innovation. Dr. Maya Harrison found herself appointed as the mission's chief science officer, working alongside Commander Wei Chen, whose experience piloting experimental spacecraft made him the natural choice to lead the mission. I still can't believe we're installing vacuum tubes alongside quantum processors, Commander Chen remarked as they toured the Daedalus during its hasty refit. It feels like we're building a time machine rather than a rescue ship. That's exactly why this might work, Maya replied, running her hand along a bank of analog gauges being installed next to holographic displays. The aliens are trapped because their singular technological approach has a single point of failure. We've always been messy, keeping backup systems and old technologies operational even as we innovate. It's inefficient, but it's resilient. The night before launch, Maya stood alone in the observation dome of the moon base, staring up at the stars. Somewhere out there, thousands of alien beings were waiting, hoping that humanity, a species they'd never met but had observed from afar, would come to their rescue. Couldn't sleep either. Commander Chen's voice came from behind her. Maya shook her head. I keep thinking about what we're about to do. First contact. Way. Not through signals or probes, but face to face, and not as equals meeting in peace, but as rescuers. Does that bother you? No, she said after a moment's reflection. I think it's fitting. If humanity is going to introduce itself to the galaxy, I'd rather we do it by helping than by conquering or trading. The commander nodded, his gaze joining hers among the stars. My grandmother used to tell me that you can judge a society not by how it treats its strongest members, but by how it treats those in need. Maybe the same applies between civilizations. The Daedalus launched the next morning, carrying a crew of 28 specialists from 18 nations. Their mission parameters were clear: reach the anomaly, establish contact with the alien fleet, and find a way to free them before their life support systems failed completely. What wasn't clear was whether humanity's patchwork approach to technology would truly be enough to save a civilization whose science had leaped far beyond Earth's understanding. As the Daedalus accelerated away from lunar orbit, Maya sent one final message back to Earth. It was brief, just 4 words that captured both the magnitude and the simplicity of their mission. We answer the call. The journey to Jupiter's orbit would take 3 weeks using the Daedalus' most advanced propulsion systems. 3 weeks to prepare for humanity's first face-to-face encounter with an alien species. 3 weeks to figure out how to rescue a fleet of ships trapped in a phenomenon that Earth's science barely understood. But as the Daedalus crossed the orbit of Mars, the situation suddenly deteriorated. A new transmission from the alien fleet revealed that their life support systems were failing faster than projected. They now had less than 2 weeks before catastrophic failure. We need to move faster, Maya insisted during the emergency briefing. Can we push the engines beyond safety protocols? The quantum drive can't handle that kind of strain, Chief Engineer Rodriguez explained. We'd risk a core breach. Commander Chen studied the ship schematics thoughtfully. What about the backup chemical boosters? They're less efficient, but they're reliable under stress. Using both simultaneously. Rodriguez looked skeptical. It's never been attempted outside of simulations. The vibration patterns could tear the ship apart. Or they could create a harmonic resonance that actually stabilizes our trajectory, Maya countered. The math supports it, even if it's theoretical. The debate continued for hours until Commander Chen finally made his decision. We're going to try it. If we arrive too late, being cautious won't matter. Prepare for simultaneous engine burn in 6 hours. The gamble paid off. The Daedalus surged forward at unprecedented speed, the ship's hybrid engine configuration creating exactly the harmonic stabilization Maya had predicted. They would now reach the anomaly with 4 days to spare, if the ship held together under the strain. As they approached Jupiter's massive gravitational field, the sensors began detecting the edges of the anomaly. It appeared as a subtle distortion in space, like heat waves rising from hot pavement, but spanning thousands of kilometers. I'm picking up their ships, announced Lieutenant Park from the sensor station. 17 vessels of varying configurations, all clustered at the center of the anomaly. The main view screen shifted, showing ghostly outlines of enormous vessels caught in the rippling distortion. Their designs were unlike anything humans had conceived, flowing, organic shapes that seemed to blend into one another, constructed of materials that the sensors couldn't properly identify. "They're beautiful," someone whispered. Maya nodded in agreement, but her attention was fixed on the readings. The anomaly is a temporal gravitational distortion. It's like a whirlpool in space-time, pulling everything toward its center, while also slowing time differentially across its diameter. "Can we communicate with them?" Commander Chen asked. "We're trying, but our quantum communication array is being affected by the anomaly too." Maya frowned at her console. "Wait, what about radio?" "Simple, electromagnetic waves. They're so basic that maybe." "Worth a shot," Chen agreed. Lieutenant Kim switched to the old-fashioned radio transmitter. "This is Earth Vessel Daedalus to Unknown Fleet. We received your distress call and have come to assist. Please respond." For a long moment, silence filled the bridge. Then a sound came through the speakers, not words, but a series of musical tones that rose and fell in complex patterns. "They're responding," Kim confirmed, "but not in a way we can understand." Maya's mind raced. "Try simplifying. Basic mathematics. Use prime numbers, like their original signal to us." Kim transmitted a simple sequence. 2 pulses, then 3, then 5, then 7. The response was immediate. 11 pulses, then 13. "We have contact," Commander Chen announced, his voice steady despite the historic moment. "Now we just need to figure out how to pull 17 massive alien ships out of a space-time whirlpool using technology they'd probably consider primitive." Maya looked around at the determined faces of the crew. "If anyone can do it, it's humans. We've been making do with whatever tools we have since we figured out how to use fire." As the Daedalus positioned itself at the edge of the anomaly, humanity prepared to demonstrate exactly why technological diversity might be the greatest strength of all. Operation Lifeline. The Daedalus hovered at the edge of the anomaly, its sensors struggling to maintain coherent readings of the distorted space before them. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was tense but focused as the crew prepared for the most ambitious rescue operation in human history. The alien vessels are all clustered within a 5-kilometer radius at the center, Maya reported, studying the 3-dimensional model projected above the strategy table. "The temporal distortion is most severe there. For every hour that passes for us, only about 10 minutes pass for them." "That's actually good news," Commander Chen noted. "It means their life support will last longer from their perspective." "Yes, but it also means any rescue attempt will seem agonizingly slow to them." Maya manipulated the hologram, highlighting the swirling gravitational currents. "The real problem is the gravitational shear. Any ship entering the anomaly will be subjected to forces that increase exponentially toward the center." Chief Engineer Rodriguez shook his head. "The Daedalus wasn't built to withstand that kind of stress. One wrong move and we'll be trapped alongside them, or worse." Silence fell over the briefing room as the implications sank in. They had come all this way only to discover that a direct rescue might be impossible. "What about a tether?" suggested Lieutenant Commander Yumi Tanaka, the mission's structural specialist. All eyes turned to her as she continued. "If we can't safely enter the anomaly, perhaps we can extend something into it. A physical connection to the alien ships. The same gravitational forces would tear apart any cable we have." Rodriguez countered. "Not necessarily," Tanaka insisted. "The carbon-titanium filament we use for space elevator testing has extraordinary tensile strength, and we have several kilometers of it aboard for emergency repairs." Maya's eyes lit up. "And we could reinforce it with a series of electromagnetic field generators, create a kind of stable tunnel through the distortion. Like threading a needle through rippling fabric," Commander Chen mused. "It's risky, but it might work." "How would we connect to their ships?" "That's where our continued communication becomes essential," Maya said. "We need to explain our plan and have them secure the tether on their end." Over the next 36 hours, the crew of the Daedalus worked tirelessly to establish a more sophisticated communication system with the alien fleet. Using a combination of mathematical sequences, simple pictograms, and gradually more complex symbols, they built a rudimentary shared language. The aliens identified themselves as the Eltheri, a spacefaring civilization whose homeworld had been destroyed by an astronomical catastrophe. The 17 ships contained their civilization's survivors, scientists, artists, historians, and ordinary citizens preserved in what humans might call suspended animation to conserve resources during their search for a new home. Their journey had been interrupted when they encountered the anomaly, which their sensors had failed to detect until it was too late. Their quantum-based technology, while far more advanced than Earth's, proved particularly vulnerable to the anomaly's unique properties. "They're asking if we're certain our tether plan will work," Lieutenant Kim reported after the latest communication exchange. "They seem skeptical of our approach." "Tell them we're not certain," Commander Chen replied frankly, "but also tell them that uncertainty has never stopped humans from trying." The Eltheri agreed to the attempt. With the plan set in motion, the Daedalus positioned itself at the calculated optimal distance from the anomaly. The specialized tether, reinforced with 27 electromagnetic field generators faced along its length, was prepared for deployment. "The math checks out," Maya confirmed, though her voice betrayed a hint of the doubt they all felt. "The field generators should create a stable corridor through the gravitational distortion." "Should," Rodriguez muttered. "That's a word that's preceded a lot of human disasters. And a lot of human triumphs," Commander Chen countered. "Begin deployment." The tether extended slowly from the Daedalus, a gleaming thread stretching into the rippling distortion. As each section penetrated the anomaly, its accompanying field generator activated, creating a bubble of stability around the filament. For the first 1,000 meters, everything proceeded according to calculations. Then, without warning, the anomaly's behavior changed. Gravitational waves intensified, battering against the electromagnetic fields. "We're losing stability in sections 3 through 7, Tanaka reported urgently. "The fields can't compensate for the increased distortion." Maya's fingers flew across her console. "The anomaly is reacting to our interference. It's like an immune response." "Can we strengthen the fields?" Chen demanded. "Not with our current power allocation," Rodriguez answered. "We're already at maximum." Maya stared at the readouts, her mind racing through possibilities. Then her gaze fell on an auxiliary panel, one connected to the Daedalus' oldest systems. "The diesel generators," she said suddenly. "The ones we brought as emergency backup. They're completely isolated from our main power grid." "The antiques." Rodriguez looked incredulous. "They're from the 2030s. "Exactly. They're immune to the quantum disruption affecting our main systems, if we route their power directly to the field generators." Commander Chen didn't hesitate. "Do it." The ship's ancient diesel generators, originally included as a last resort backup, roared to life. Their raw, mechanical energy, converted and channeled through hastily reconfigured systems, surged into the failing electromagnetic fields. The effect was immediate. The tether stabilized, its protective field strengthening against the anomaly's pressure. Slowly, steadily, it continued its journey toward the heart of the distortion, where the Eltheri ships waited. After 5 tense hours, the tether finally reached the alien fleet. The Eltheri, true to their agreement, secured it to their flagship, a vast, crescent-shaped vessel that housed their leadership and primary life support systems. "Connection confirmed," Lieutenant Kim announced. "They're ready for extraction." The next phase was the most dangerous. The Daedalus would need to gradually retract the tether, pulling the Eltheri flagship, and through it, the other vessels connected in a chain, out of the anomaly's grip. "All hands, secure for maximum strain," Commander Chen ordered. "Beginning extraction sequence." The ship groaned as its engines fired, fighting against the anomaly's pull. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. The tether went taut, straining under forces that threatened to snap it despite all their preparations. Then, almost imperceptibly at first, the sensors detected movement. The Elthari flagship was moving. Less than a meter per minute, but moving nonetheless. It's working. Maya breathed, hardly daring to believe it. The gravitational differential is actually helping us. As their ships reach areas of less distortion, they're accelerating more easily. Hour by agonizing hour, the Daedalus pulled the alien fleet from the anomaly's grip. The ship's systems were pushed well beyond their designed limitations, kept functional only through the crew's constant innovations and improvisations. 3 days later, the final Elthari vessel cleared the anomaly's boundary. A collective cheer erupted throughout the Daedalus as humanity completed its first extraterrestrial rescue mission. The Elthari leadership requested permission to board the Daedalus, a gesture of gratitude that would also constitute humanity's first physical contact with an alien species. Commander Chen granted permission without hesitation. Maya stood with the welcoming party as the airlock cycled. Her heart pounded as the inner door slid open, revealing 3 tall, slender beings with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each movement. Their features were almost human-like in arrangement, yet unmistakably alien, with large, multifaceted eyes that reflected the light like living prisms. The central figure stepped forward, raising a 6-fingered hand in what appeared to be a gesture of greeting. "I am Ilara, principal navigator of the Elthari remnant." The alien spoke, its voice producing sounds that somehow translated directly in Maya's mind. "We come bearing the gratitude of our entire civilization." Commander Chen stepped forward, offering a traditional bow. "Commander Wei Chen, of Earth Vessel Daedalus, we're honored to have been able to help." Ilara's multifaceted eyes studied the humans with evident curiosity. "Your methods were unexpected. When we observed your civilization, we noted your technological inefficiency, your tendency to maintain outdated systems alongside new innovations. We considered it a cultural curiosity, perhaps even a weakness." Maya smiled. "And now we understand it is perhaps your greatest strength," Ilara replied. "While our singular technological path brought us to the brink of extinction, your diversity of approaches saved us. There is much we can learn from each other." In the weeks that followed, as the Daedalus escorted the Elthari fleet back toward Earth, humans and aliens exchanged knowledge, stories, and cultural insights. The Elthari shared their advanced understanding of quantum physics and gravitational manipulation, while humanity offered its perspectives on technological diversity, adaptation, and resilience. When they finally reached Earth orbit, the news of first contact had already spread worldwide. The images of the Daedalus returning alongside 17 massive alien vessels inspired awe, pride, and hope across humanity. In a historic address to the United Nations, Ilara spoke of a new partnership between their civilizations. "We came to your solar system as refugees, hoping merely to survive. Instead, we found not just rescuers but kindred spirits. Though our paths have differed, we share the same fundamental resilience, the determination to persist, to adapt, to overcome." Standing at the back of the assembly hall, Maya found herself reflecting on the unexpected way humanity had introduced itself to the wider universe, not through conquest or commerce, but through compassion and ingenuity. "It turns out," Commander Chen said quietly beside her, "that the best technology isn't always the newest or the most advanced." "No," Maya agreed, watching as human and Elthari representatives exchanged formal gestures of friendship on the world stage. "Sometimes it's just the right tool for the job." And in that moment, as two civilizations began the long process of learning to understand each other, humanity's peculiar habit of keeping one foot in its technological past while stepping into the future had proven to be exactly the right tool for answering a call from the stars.